everyone, today I want to talk about baby shark doo doo doo, baby shark doo doo doo. Nope, stop, absolutely not. We're not doing that. I'm talking about the real baby sharks, the ones that glow in the dark, inflate like a balloon, and sometimes show up to their own birth halfway through eating a sibling. Forget cuddles and lullabies, these prehistoric weirdos treat childbirth like a live action Hunger Games. And that's just the popular ones. Everyone pictures sharks as these sleek apex predators, but what no one tells you is that shark babies are even weirder. For starters, sharks don't do parenting. There are no diaper bags, no bedtime stories, and mom's idea of childcare either shove you into a leathery egg and swim away, or keep you inside her body long enough for you to grow teeth and start feeding on your brothers and sisters. Some give birth to a shiver of lethal mini sharks, and others unleash an army of tiny murder beans, hoping for the best. And here's the wild part, every species does it differently. It's like evolution opened up a daycare with glow sticks, sharp objects, and absolutely zero safety codes. So today, we're taking a look at one of evolution's weirdest parenting hacks and discovering the incredible world of shark babies. Don't forget to hit that like button, and let's dive into this. Okay, if you're expecting a heartwarming story of shark moms gently guiding their young into the world, guess again. We like to keep things weird around here, and what better way to kick things off than with this little oddball right here. This is a horn shark, a squat, grumpy-looking bottom dweller that looks like me before I've had a chance to jumpstart my brain and kickstart my colon. Now, unfortunately for this little guy, horn sharks aren't fast, they're not sleek, and they're certainly not winning any underwater beauty contest, but what they do have is one of the weirdest egg designs in the entire animal kingdom. Instead of laying a soft jelly bean style eggs like a sensible fish, horn sharks lay spiral shaped corkscrew capsules. Basically, think of Mother Nature's version of a drill bit. But why do they do this? Well, what happens next is where things really start to get interesting. After laying her creepy little sea screw, the mother finds a rocky crevice and then neatly twists the egg into place. Yep, you heard that right. No nest, no babysitting, just one dramatic shove into the crack. Now here's the thing. Sharks aren't exactly model parents. In most cases, once they lay their eggs or birth their pups, that's it. No parenting, no supervision, just good luck, kid, and then quietly swim away in the opposite direction. But with horn sharks, they don't even wait for the goodbye. They dip out the moment they screw that egg into the rocks. Awesome, and very on brand. No nest, no babysitting, just one dramatic shove into a crack, and she's gone. During this time, these shark babies are completely on their own. But unlike their cousins, these guys are well protected. Thanks to the strange corkscrew-like design of the eggs, when a predator tries to yank one out, they can't pull it out because they're too tightly packed in? Oh no, they pull these bad boys right out. But what happens next is a brilliant survival hack. After coming loose, that corkscrew shape catches the current, and then the eggs get swept away, with the embryo inside just thinking, cool, love this for us, as it drifts out to sea. Until finally, bam! The shark hatches, bursting out of its capsule like a microwave burrito with teeth. Fully formed, fully armed, and ready to face the world. No training wheels for this little guy, just a 6-inch replica of mom and dad, launched straight into the unforgiving world of tide pools and disappointment. Now, that might sound like a wild start to life, but horn sharks are practically responsible adults compared to what comes next. Let me introduce you to the swell shark, their slightly glowier, slightly weirder cousin. Swell sharks lay mermaid's purse-style egg cases, leathery pouch-like cocoons that look like a wet sock someone cursed. But here's where things get strange. Under ultraviolet light, these sharks glow like a radioactive nightmare. How cool is that? These little guys are biofluorescent. Shine a black light on them and they light up like a ray flyer. But why do they do this? Well, the science isn't totally sure, but we do have some creative ideas. It might help them with camouflage, or even communication, or maybe it was just there to show off. Either way, somewhere out in the ocean is a shark egg glowing in the dark like a neon gummy worm. And if the glowing wasn't weird enough, swell sharks can also inflate themselves like a balloon when they're threatened. Oh, I get it now. Swell sharks, because they swell up. That's clever. Here's the kicker though. This behavior starts before they're even born. If a predator bumps or jostles the egg case, the embryo inside will start inflating, meaning these shark babies are practicing their self-defense training before they even hatch. Yikes, it hasn't even been born yet, and already it has anxiety homework? These pups don't get baby blankets, they get inbuilt panic buttons. And just like their grumpy looking cousins, once they hatch, these little deviants are fully formed and ready to go. And honestly, I have to admire that energy. Neither of these sharks cares much for parenting. They do the bare minimum, disappear, and then let the kids figure it out. And somehow, it just works. Horn sharks are bumbling around through California reefs, and swell sharks are out there glowing through kelp forests and photobombing scientific studies. And sometimes, that's all you really need. A good hiding spot or a neat party trick. But while these two are busy stuffing their kids into leathery pouches and hoping for the best, other sharks looked at that strategy and said, nah, let's keep the kids inside until the murder starts. Welcome to the Shark Thunderdome. We've met the laid-back weirdos, the corkscrew egg installers, the glow-in-the-dark puffballs, but now it's time to crank up the dial from weird to nightmare. Because some sharks don't lay eggs at all. Instead, they keep their babies inside, until the siblings realize they're in an elimination round. And leading this charge, it's everyone's favorite aquatic nightmare, the great white. Giant, toothy, and basically the PR team for the entire shark community. But I have to tell you, baby great whites, somehow, they're even more intense. These sharks give birth to live young. But before you get too excited and think, aw, sharks, they're just like us, their method is a little different. Sharks like the great white use a process called ooviparity, which is basically nature's way of saying, I want eggs, but I also want a womb-themed haunted house. Here's how that works. The mother produces multiple eggs inside her body. The embryos hatch internally, and then they just kind of float around, waiting for their moment. But while they wait, mom makes sure they have plenty to snack on. What kind of snacks, you ask? Well, just like the eggs we eat in our omelets, not every egg a shark produces gets fertilized. So right next to those baby great whites is an all-you-can-eat buffet of tasty room-temperature eggs. Now, unfortunately, sometimes accidents happen, and by accidents, we mean the kind where one sibling ends up halfway eaten. Whether this is deliberate cannibalism or just really aggressive snack time is still debated, but while great whites may have dabbled in cannibalism, sand sharks made it their entire personality. These guys are the reigning champ of in-womb body counts. Same basic setup as before, some of the eggs hatch inside the mom and the rest stay unfertilized for snacking. While great white pups might have experienced the occasional friendly fire, sand tigers treat their development like a Highlander reboot, because in the womb, there can be only one. This delightful behavior is called embryonic dominance, which is a really polite way of saying they ate each other. And I'm sorry to say, this process wasn't quick. These little gladiators spend months inside their mother's womb, growing stronger and stronger, feasting on egg after egg and sibling after sibling. It's less of a pregnancy and more a shark-themed battle royale, where the grand prize is simply being born. And by the time they finally do emerge, baby sand tigers are massive. In fact, they're one of the largest newborn sharks of any species relative to adult size. Congrats, kid! You survived! Now apologize to your mom's internal organs. Now, as brutal as this all sounds, there is some logic to it. That one surviving pup comes out, fully formed, well-fed, and ready to hunt. No daycare, no training montage, just a miniature assassin with zero debt and no siblings to argue with. It's basically the biological equivalent of skipping kindergarten and going straight into a knife fight. And while sand tigers win the Deadliest Uterus Award, great whites aren't far behind. Their babies are born 4 to 5 feet long, fully equipped with sharp teeth, predatory instincts, and abandonment issues. Once born, they're launched into the ocean with no instruction manual, no daycare system, just a good luck, and try not to die. But no matter how prepared these sharks are at birth, even they need a warm-up lap. So these little guys start off in a protected nursery zone, like this one off the coast of California, where they can grow in peace, get stronger, and that one's already off to Hawaii. I guess they don't need to stay there for long. Now, here's the real curveball. Great whites might have had a romantic side. Like me, you probably think of sharks as loners, just cruising along, doing their own thing. But in the early 2000s, scientists studying great whites off the coast of South Africa made a shocking discovery. By analyzing the DNA of sharks from all ages, they found something bizarre. Multiple generations of juveniles, young adults, and full-grown sharks all shared the same father. But that wasn't even the incredible part. They also shared the same mother. How cool is that? Apparently, some great whites reunite with the same mate across multiple generations, like a Deadly Tooth rom-com. I have to say, that's a weirdly wholesome twist for an animal best known for starring in horror movies. So while these sharks didn't glow, puff up, or come with corkscrew-like accessories, they've evolved a very different strategy. Fewer babies, more teeth, maximum violence for pup. And somehow, it's worked for millions of years. But hey, if womb cannibalism didn't do it for you, then what's left? Oh, just you wait, because not all sharks have a one-baby policy. We've done the loners, the glowers, the womb gladiators, now it's time for pure, unfiltered chaos. And nothing says shark chaos quite like the blue shark, the deep-sea equivalent of a party bus. These sharks don't just have babies, they host entire baby conventions. While some sharks give birth to maybe 1 or 2 megapups, blue sharks go full-on quantity over quality. In fact, a single female can give birth to over 100 pups at once. That's not a litter, that's a traffic jam. But why so many? Well, unlike nursery-raised great whites or the gladiator-born sand tigers, blue sharks operate on the assumption that, sadly, most of her kids are probably going to get eaten. So Mama Blue pumps out enough offspring to start a small militia. Now, as you can imagine, having that many kids comes with its own challenges. But not to worry, because blue shark moms have a strategy to handle the barrage of tiny fins. They leave. Good luck, kids! Okay, it's not that bad. After all, it's very on brand for sharks. But blue shark moms put in some effort. Before giving birth, the females travel hundreds of miles to find a safe place to unload all those little gremlins. In fact, it's not uncommon for them to migrate across entire ocean basins just to give their pups a fighting chance. And that's still not even the wildest part. Male and female blue sharks live almost completely separate lives. They travel in different groups, hang out in different parts of the ocean, and really only meet up when it's time for, shark stuff. And speaking of shark stuff, it's sort of, let's say, violent. You see, blue shark courtship isn't exactly tender and loving. It involves the males biting the females repeatedly and leaving some pretty gnarly scars along their back. Yikes. Maybe try taking her to dinner first. But thankfully over time, the female blue sharks have developed thicker skin compared to their male counterparts. Sharks, they're just like us. In fact, the skin on the females is up to 3 times thicker than that of the males. Which sounds great, but I don't know, maybe change up the system or something. Alright, for those of you keeping track, blue shark babies are born by the dozen, often after a cross-Atlantic road trip. And they come from a process that requires bite-proof skin. And when they finally arrive, there's no nursery, no guidance, just hundreds of tiny predators dropped into the ocean like nature's most poorly supervised field trip. But we're not done yet. If throwing your offspring into a murder pit sounds a little extreme, and having over 100 shark babies feels a bit overwhelming, then how about some middle ground? Enter the great hammerhead. Now, for those of you wondering, what's the difference between a normal hammerhead and a great hammerhead? Well, that one's bigger, and bigger is better, so that's the one we're going to talk about. Now, all hammerheads are a little weird. I mean, just look at that face. But the great hammerheads take it even further. And it all starts before they're even born. Unlike our egg layers or womb warriors, great hammerheads use a totally different strategy. A placenta. Yep, you heard that right. These sharks have a placenta. These guys went full mammal mode. Here's how it works. Early on, the embryos snack on a smorgasbord of unfertilized eggs. Classic shark stuff. But then, something wild happens. Their temporary home starts to change. The walls thicken, and tiny blood vessels form a connection between each pup and their mom. And this right here, it's a pretty big deal. Not just because it's super rare in sharks, and trust me, it's rare, but because of the huge advantages it gives to the pups. Think about it. No eggs to abandon, no predators, no nabbing siblings, no infighting, no cannibalistic death matches, just a direct nutritional highway from mom to pup. It's fantastic, and thanks to this setup, great hammerheads can support large litters of up to 20 to 50 fully developed pups, born alive and ready to rumble. Each one is a mini version of mom and dad. Speaking of which, that hammer, it's not just a style choice, it's loaded with electrosensory organs that help it detect prey and navigate through murky waters. In fact, some populations skip the coastal nurseries entirely and just drop off their pups straight into the deep. Good luck, boys! But no matter the location, these pups are born fully formed, independent, and equipped with one of the weirdest heads in the animal kingdom. So yeah, no egg pile, no murder pit, just a placenta, a purpose, and a head shaped like a shovel that also doubles as a super weapon. And there you have it. Corkscrewed eggs jammed into rocks, glow-in-the-dark balloonfish, womb-based gladiator matches, cross-oceanic shark delivery routes, placental shark babies with radar dishes for faces. But if you thought that was wild, just you wait. Because while most shark pups hit the water sprinting, fully formed, armored to the teeth, and ready for mayhem, there's one shark that takes things very, very slowly. I'm talking about a species so ancient, so sluggish, and so strange, it makes the rest of these shark babies look like hyperactive toddlers on sugar water. But unfortunately, we're out of time, so I guess we'll have to leave the story of the Greenland shark for another video. Until then, I want to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, please consider subscribing to my channel, and don't forget to bring snacks.